So now we got week 14, rivalry week, Chris. Let's go ahead and talk about some of these games on the docket. Let's go ahead and kick things off with the Egg Bowl, Chris.
Mhm.
Me and you have been waiting for this for this time of the week to talk about this game, and we're now at this point where we can actually, give our thoughts here on the show. The line right now, Chris, has Ole Miss as a 7.5 point favorite. Over under is at 62.5. So
Mhm.
Ole Miss has to travel to Starkville, Chris. We've seen Mississippi State games all season long. We have seen them get ahead. We've seen them lose leads like no one's business. Don't believe in moral victories down there in Starkville in terms of Jeff Levy has built there. What are your thoughts about this game, Chris? Because you got Lane Kiffin. It all seems like he has pretty much one foot out the door after this game. We already heard from the athletic director Keith Carter talking about after the Egg Bowl we're going to hear about Lane Kiffin and where he's going to land after that. Just is this just a catalyst for this Ole Miss team to not be ready to play this game, Chris, or will they come out clicking on all cylinders and it's going to have like they're going to be like, hey, what coaching news happened? What does this Ole Miss team look like to you heading into this Egg Bowl, Chris?
Yeah, there are several factors that can really that play into this matchup. You look at all the outside noise. Will the team be distracted? Um, you know, will they play at their best level, at its best level? Because there's a lot of noise going on with Lane Kiffin. It's taken away from what this team has accomplished this season. So that can be a factor. Uh, you know, because this team is trying to accomplish something special. Then you also have Mississippi State trying to play spoiler in that, and also, I mean, there's a lot riding on the line in this game. This game, similar to an Egg Bowl that we didn't know at that moment was really going to change the course of Mississippi college football for like the next, you know, 7 to 10 years, um, potentially. Yeah, but at least the next five for sure, but potentially 10 years was the piss and the miss, which also happened in Starkville. Joe Moorhead's last game coaching as Mississippi State's head coach. How that game turned out changed the whole trajectory of college football in the state of Mississippi because of Ole Miss losing that game. You go on to hire Lane Kiffin. And fast forward to now, Kory, after what Lane Kiffin has done and where Ole Miss is, Ole Miss has had a stranglehold on the state when it comes to playing well and um, putting out there, team after team that plays good football and challenges for the playoffs in the SEC. And this team is potentially could be in the SEC championship game and have a spot as in that large team in the playoff. Um, Now you can kind of right your wrong with how things played out from that situation, and low key force Lane Kiffin out. You could go ahead and close that door, Mississippi State. See ya. Go ahead and do your thing in LSU and Baton Rouge, and kind of level the playing field in the state of Mississippi. This is a huge game for both programs. So I think when you look at this on the field, though, Kory, it really starts, I feel like, in the trenches, like most games. But Mississippi State needs to keep Ole Miss's offense off the field. Mississippi State needs Fluff Bothwell to and Devon Booth to both just carry us Make this game as simple as possible for whoever is at quarterback, Kory, whether it's Blake Shapen or Kamario Taylor. Lighten the load, stay on schedule, keep Ole Miss off the field, their offense off the field, and keep this crowd engaged. And I think as the game continues, and if you play a physical game, you've established a run, and now it's a close game throughout. Those bomb plays, those deep bombs will present themselves. And if you can click on those, capitalize, and really put the pressure on Ole Miss, there's already so much pressure built into this matchup. One, because it's a rivalry game, it's the Egg Bowl. Two, Ole Miss's playoff hopes hinge on this game. Now, if you add the added pressure of, oh, we really in the game, and we got to punch back and answer, I think you can see Ole Miss break. I'm not going to call the upset, but I really do feel like this game. There's a reason it's a 7.5 point spread. I think you want to go with Mississippi State and take the 7.5 points because there's true potential based on what we've seen from State this season and how they play with the Texases of the world, the Floridas, um, the Tennessees. I mean, you name it. They've played a lot of really talented SEC teams very tightly. And I think they're going to. I think Jeff Levy's going to have to pull out all the stops in this one. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss does find a way to win. I think the Rebels will take this one 41-38. I think a lot of points will be put on the board. I think it's going to be high scoring. But if this game is in the 20s, Kory, as crazy as that may sound for a team that runs the beer and shoot offense, and you wanna attack points. I think it suits Mississippi State well for this to be a battle to be like the 2000s Mississippi State teams, some of those 90s Jackie Sherrill teams to be a grinded out game. I think this is the kind of game you would favor Mississippi State in if it's lower scoring. So we'll see how it does play out, but I think the Bulldogs are live for the upset. But I'm a side with Ole Miss putting a stamp on what's been a special season for the Rebels and narrowly escaping out of Starkville with the golden egg.
Well said, good sir. Yeah, look, I've been thinking about this too, Chris. I think Ole Miss, for all of the distractions that have been going on the last week and a half now, this is a big one for them. There's an opportunity for them to solidify their stance, plant that flag in Starkville, Mississippi, and say, "Hey, we are the flagship school here in the state of Mississippi. You can't touch us." The opportunity's there. They've had a great season, one of the best seasons in the history of Ole Miss football, and I think these guys know what's at stake. The funny thing about it is that you probably look at a lot of that team. A lot of those guys aren't from the state of Mississippi like that. So man, it I think they'll
This might be
still be
they're going to get punched in the mouth. This is going to be like their real like, oh, this is how this game is like.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's the point in time where I think they'll realize that, hey, I think we need to play this football game. Whether we win, whether we lose. I think this rivalry right here is a rivalry to not mess with. We got to be prepared mentally and physically for 4 quarters to try to win this ball game. So I think you're going to see guys like Kyron Lacey, really go hard in the paint to try to get some good runs in to hopefully get Ole Miss into a victory. and definitely keep those playoff hopes alive at that point. But on the flip side, you Mississippi State, you have been getting beaten, battered by the national media for seasons now. This school had to go through one of the worst coaching changes of all in college football in terms of like losing um uh, the late great Mike Leach, getting Zach Arnett, that did not work. You know, dealing with what you deal with last season. You lost to Tulane in Starkville. You didn't win the SEC game. You didn't win the SEC game until earlier, in mid season this year against Arkansas. And boy, that took everything out of you to try to win that
It's like
game.
a 17-point comeback.
Yeah. Yeah, only to then lose to Georgia, then lose to Missouri in the worst way. You're still kind of looking like the laughing stock towards the college football national media. This is a big opportunity for Mississippi State. You're 5-6. You gotta get to bowling. You have not went to a bowl game in like 3 years practically. Something has to give. So how fitting would it be if you beat your rival Ole Miss in Starkville and actually calm some of the rhetoric on, hey, is Jeff Levy the guy in Starkville? Because look, folks, if you're not a fan of this rivalry, that's been going on as well too. Mississippi State has been a lot of fans. The fan base has been either on board or off board with Jeff Levy and the experiment that's been going on down there. How fitting would it be if he can win this ball game and definitely calm some of those people's nerves after this game? That's
And
huge.
Jeff Levy has his own rivalry with Lane Kiffin.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Look, those two can sit there and act like there's nothing between those two. There was one point Jeff Levy was on that staff at Ole Miss. He knows what that culture's like. And now being at Mississippi State, you gotta finish. You gotta finish. So the two different worlds, Chris. Someone has to break through. Is it Ole Miss with their season practically on the line? I think because I think if they lose this game, I don't even think they make it to the playoffs. Some people may think that they will. I don't know. Can they solidify those playoff hopes with a win against Mississippi State, their rival, or can Mississippi State figure it out, finish a game at home, and get to bowl eligibility for the first time since 2022? I think this is a huge game in the SEC. I can't wait to watch this one. I know you're going to be watching this game as well, Chris. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We will see what happens. Hopefully, my magic, my voodoo will work by picking Ole Miss, the old jinx. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's going to be quite the game because there is a very possible and real chance. And Mississippi State pulls through, Kory. It's the Egg Bowl. You've seen Step Brothers. It's the Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Look, man.
But yeah, anything can happen. We've seen it all with this game. No matter what kind of season each team is having, this game gets ignorant.
Yeah, it does. Look, we've seen piss and misses. We've seen literal fights between quarterbacks.
We saw Bo Nix going in for the game tying touchdown. I said Bo Nix, Bo Wallace going in for the game tying touchdown, and
Wallace
fumbling. and Mississippi State recovers. I think it was Jamerson Love recovered the football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And thanks to Nico Whitley by punching it out.
Yeah.
The guy had an ACL injury. Like he tore his ACL. He's still out there playing. Insane. This is this rivalry, folks. If you do not know what entails in the Egg Bowl, crazy stuff happens in this game. And I know some people are out there saying, like, well, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, like, it's not like they're going to the playoffs or anything. Like how is this rivalry this crazy? I know you've heard that from people as well, too, Chris. It gets crazy. You have two teams in the state of Mississippi going for the same types of players. The stories that come from that, insane rivalry. Like this is a nasty rivalry. You can take your Iron Bowls. Probably the closest next to the Egg Bowl, it has to be Michigan, Ohio State. And then after that, man, we're talking about rivalries that are too far in the distance from those two.
It's definitely a special game. One that's near and dear to our heart, being from the state of Mississippi. But it'll be fun, man. It's a unique circumstances surrounding this year's rendition of the Egg Bowl. So I'm definitely curious and ready to see how this bad boy goes down.
I am too, man. We're almost there. I'm definitely prepared. I'm ready for whatever happens. I think it's going to be a good game.